1994 John Deere 4960 with less than 3,000 hours. You know, if you're a fan of regular car reviews, you'll remember that he mentioned something about 1994 being such a good year. Everything clicked. Movies, music, cars. Everybody was just happy. I mean, we had Pulp Fiction, Angels in the Outfield, The Lion King, Joe Diffie released John Deere Green, Black Hawk was hitting the charts, Callin' Baton Rouge by Garth Brooks came out, Faith Hill released her first single, and They Don't Make Them Like That Anymore by Boy Howdy came out. And that leads us to this two-owner, 2,900-hour John Deere 4960. This particular tractor has been in the area since new. It was bought by a neighbor, and after a couple of years they traded in for an 8400, I believe, and it was bought by the next neighbor who still owns it today. They traded in a one-owner cranked up 4630, and they traded it for this one. Now the pump has been set up a touch, about 225 horsepower, and I know that many of you out there are saying, well, you could turn it up to 300, 400, compound turbos, blah, 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 blah. This thing's reliable. The owner's okay with turning them up but not lugging the snot out of them or trying to pull an extra 10 feet of disc just to make it pull the current tool better is all that they're turned up for. This one was used for an anhydrous ammonia toolbar. It pulled a Paratil ripper and originally a 25-foot John Deere disc. Since going to 28% nitrogen and no-till, it's a backup tractor for a Steiger running a 30-foot Turbomax, which this will pull at 7 miles an hour with 1 degree of angle, but mainly it's hooked up to this 28-foot Case IH disc. The current tires have been unloaded, but they are the originals. The original tubes were replaced after 24 years of having fluid in them. Well, 22. It has a 450 weight inside and a 450 165 outside and a full set of front weights. It looks impressive. I mean, if you have a truck, it's great, but a set of 35s and a worn winch adds a lot. I run this tractor for a couple of days, which is why we have the crappy iPhone footage here instead of my actual camera. And it is just really, really nice to run. It doesn't really bounce. It doesn't really spin. The transmission is shift smooth. The first pass over the field, I ran 9th gear at 2100 RPMs. The second time over, I ran 10th gear at 1850. Smokes just a bit. In the dark, you can see the smoke roll out each hard spot or rut you cross. It's not a pro stocker. It just drinks like one. They made a few changes to this tractor as a finale to the Soundguard era, and it was great. You know, look on YouTube for the introduction to the John Deere 60 series with the Magnums, and the guys are sitting there going, oh, the hood doesn't open, oh, and the step copy of ours, and the exhaust is a copy of ours. Well, first off, I don't need to open the hood to get to anything. Second of all, I don't use the dog door where the exhaust goes anyway. I mean, the cab itself is small, but it's not uncomfortable. Overall, it's been several years since this thing had the paint waxed. The air conditioner works great. It will freeze you out of the seat if you turn it up. It likes to bounce on the road in high gear over about 1900 RPM, but who cares? I may make jokes about the fuel usage. Everyone on the farm does, but I figured it up to less than a gallon per acre for each pass. I mean, the cost per acre is great. I do like my minimum till and no-till environments, but there is something relaxing about just turning dirt and enjoying it. Is this thing going anywhere? Absolutely not. It only gets run enough for about an oil change a year. And given how much it would cost to replace it, why would you? The thing's 24 years old. It's just turning 3,000 hours. Why would you pay $200,000 for something to sit in the barn 11 months out of the year? I definitely rate this tractor as one of the best I've driven, one of my favorites, and I absolutely look forward to the day I can buy it for myself. I would definitely say John Deere 4960, they got it right. It was a great finale to the Soundguard era, and I'm glad that they built one.